Let's head back to Friday night, and it was the Bombers up against the Crows at Marvel Stadium, and there was momentum swings everywhere. The Bombers looked to have this home and hose, Lordo, 3 goals up, but Ben Keys thought otherwise.
Yeah, one of the great wins for the Adelaide Crows. They won't play finals, but this is great. When Gresham kicks that goal, you say it's all over. 7 minutes to go. But then Fogarty, he kicked 2 last quarter goals for 4 for the game. Keys went in the midfield because Laird was sore, Dawson was out of the game. That would have been the sealer from Caddy with 3 minutes to go. And then they just played safe. They pretty much parked the bus, and then it was just repeat entry. The ball lived in the front half. They couldn't find loose players. They were kicking long down the line. And then it was just a matter of time, and Rochelle does what he does. He's a smart player. And I thought they were sitting ducks in the end. And Merritt missed an inside 50 he'd normally kick. And it was a bad loss, a horror loss, to be honest. And now I think they're more likely to miss, in my opinion, than make it.
Just on that, Lloyd, because you made some really strong comments at the start of the season about Windy Hill being burnt down, or words to that effect. Now, you're sitting here now today with 5 matches to go, saying that that's where you now see them. So what has actually changed when it's all said and done?
Yeah, well, I've enjoyed the year for large parts, because when Durham and Caldwell come off the back of Zach Merritt, I've liked it. I've liked the fact that Brad Scott he never got carried away when they're winning, and he doesn't lose his way when they're losing. So they've got to win 3 of their last 5, but they've lost 4 of their last 6. So that's the concern for them. You know, they play St Kilda this week. Someone say they should win that. There's no guarantees that they win that game of football. So again, when the whips are cracking, they've been found wanting. And it is a bit about their mental resilience.
I thought they were in complete control in the first quarter, even quarter time, leading into the second quarter. Then the Crows kicked 8 goals straight. Let's have a look at some of these. This is a kick-in. Have a look at Mitch Hinge, just allowed to run outside 50. I'm not sure who was meant to be guarding him, but then you get over the back so easy. We never, ever see coast-to-coast goals anymore. That is 1990s football stuff, and that's what started the rot. So that's the first one. Now they get numbers back. Great effort here. They bring the ball to ground level, they get it, but then they started to panic the Bombers. The Adelaide Crows were coming, and that is not a senior footballer handball. That goes straight back to Benny Keys, and there was just panic everywhere. They've got the extra number here. They've got 3-on-1. They're 3-on-1, and they win the footy back. So this should be going back the other way. The Adelaide Crows should have never kicked these goals all one by one. They get the ball back, and it's just panic again. What are we doing? The pressure's not huge, and then they give the footy up again. Adelaide, all of a sudden, they're back in the game. They're in front, and they're on the hunt. Again, this one. What are these players doing to allow these players to just go outside? So you've got Shield, you've got Gresham there. They're just standing around. There are players everywhere out on the other side of the ground. They're just not thinking. They're not in the game at the moment. And they go forward again. Phil Thorpe kicks an easy goal. All of a sudden, it's out to 3 goals. And now pressure. You're 3 goals down. What do? We get the football. Ben Keys allowed to run on his own. But again, Mackay gets the ball straight back to Keys. So not only did they panic, but they just gave up football. They didn't man up at all. It was pretty ordinary.
Yeah, they wouldn't want to watch that vision on Monday. Great stuff, Brownie. Now, Damo, I know Taylor Walker's your guy. Oh, you're a big fan of the Tex.
He's had a pretty good career, Crane.
Heard he wasn't happy.
He absolutely has. But I thought we got a glimpse into the future of the. So this is the Tex watch from Damo. He went again on Friday.
You're like a mouthpiece, Damo.
He went again on Friday. But what we did see was
it's over 10 years of articles.
Yeah,
it's like Damien Walker.
He went again on Friday. But what we did see was the future of the Adelaide Football Club and what it looks like without Taylor Walker. And this is the model. When you've got the thrill seeker, this guy who is absolutely ready to explode, and Fogarty, who had his best game for the year, kicking 4. He was everywhere, 17 touches, score involvements left, right and centre. You just can't play the 3 of them in the same side. You can't play Phil Thorpe, Fogarty and Walker. And this was an excellent example of what it will look like. 115 points they scored, Adelaide, for a side that struggled to score this year. So I love the fact that Matthew Nicks rested Taylor Walker in this game. Now, he said he's going to play again next week.
Was he happy about it, Kane?
I don't know, Brownie. I can't imagine he would have been.
I heard he wasn't happy. So we better ask the mouthpiece over there.
Damo.
I can't imagine you'd be happy missing a game of footy at any stage.
Are you a mouthpiece for Tex Walker?
That is not correct, Brownie.
I don't know.
Look, I believe he'll be playing next year. Whether it's for the Crows is another story.
And that's fine. Yeah. And I don't think it should be for Adelaide. I think Matthew Nicks, who has been, pretty supportive of Taylor Walker over the journey, I think that a hard call needs to be made, and it was a great example of what it can look like if the big shadow of Taylor Walker isn't there next year.
It's an extraordinary game by Ben Keys, as has already been highlighted. And fortunately, in my eyes anyway, he was let off by the match review office for this tackle on Jai Caldwell late in the game. Now, I reckon there's another scenario that could have been 2 or 3 weeks had we not had the debacle of last week, where Bedford and the Taranto tackle and the Cameron on Duggan tackle. That was ultimately more in the body region than the head. And look, I'm glad they finally, I think, showed some common sense.
Looks like the exact same tackle to me, Damo.
Yeah, but at least they couldn't possibly have a problem with what Keys did there.
Why didn't they have common sense last week then?
Because they don't often have it, and that's been another story. But there was one arm free there from Caldwell, and that was the messaging out of the Tribunal rubbish of the week.
I might ask you in the agenda later, but you were scathing on the whole process on Friday.
It's a joke.
You laid it out perfectly and very clearly. And I want to get your thoughts on it after, because I think that as far as what I've read, that summed it up.
Does it need to start again?
Absolutely.
He wants
just scrap it and have all the brains in footy to come in and say what needs to happen, because the umpires, match review office, tribunal and appeals tribunal, they've all got different views on what is and isn't allowed.
Bit of common sense would be great.